All right, good evening. Thank you for coming out on this rainy night. I'll just ask the council to come join me down here. We have a special proclamation this evening. So we're lucky we get to honor a special person in our community, and tonight is one of those nights. We had a special ceremony here today for a young man becoming an Eagle Scout, and Councilwoman Moore was fortunate enough to be here and join in the ceremony, so I'd ask her to acknowledge the proclamation.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, President Aramo. This afternoon, I had the opportunity and the honor of serving on the Eagle Scout Review Board, and this award, this review process, was in reference to Justin Cornell. We're going to ask Justin if he would come and stand with us as we celebrate him this evening. I have to say that the interview process, the actual interview process was, all of his answers and responses were flawless, and the members of the review board were extremely impressed with his ability to really reveal all the knowledge that he's obtained as a result of this process. And so I just want to say a few things about Justin. Justin is an amazing 16-year-old. Not only is he a junior assistant scouting master, but he also assists students within our local community, students who actually have special needs. In addition, you're all aware of the fact that the bus stop painting project, which is a project which allowed for him to receive this next level of honor, he actually volunteered over 200 hours to make this project a success. And so today, when I had the opportunity to ask him several questions, one of the questions that I asked him, I said, what does leadership mean to you? And without hesitation, he said, and I quote, that leadership is not about being a boss. He said leadership, I quote once again, is not about giving others demands, but leadership is about helping and guiding others. And so tonight, Justin, you exemplify what true leadership means, because leadership is not about a title, but it's really about one life influencing another. And you have done that tonight. So on behalf of the City of Long Beach, on behalf of the council, and all the members of the Long Beach community, we celebrate you tonight, and we are proud that you received your recognition as an Eagle Scout this afternoon. And once again, we say thank you. And so we congratulate you with this proclamation, and it reads, whereas the City of Long Beach wishes to recognize those who are committed to the betterment of the city and the lives of our residents, and whereas the City of Long Beach does desire to publicly acknowledge Justin Cornell in honor of his recognition by the Boy Scouts of America with their highest rank, Eagle Scout. And whereas the City of Long Beach also wishes to acknowledge Mr. Cornell's spirit of volunteerism, whereby for his Eagle Scout project, he directed supervised a team of volunteers who repainted the faded yellow paint on sidewalks and curbs in the west end, marking the location of bus stop. And now and therefore, the City Council and the City Manager of the City of Long Beach, in recognition of his exemplary service to the community, proudly present this proclamation to Justin Cornell. Let's celebrate him. It is a great achievement. Justin's parents, if you would just come forward, because we once again celebrate you because you've raised such an amazing young man. We're just proud of that achievement. Okay, so Ms. Johnson is not here, but there are two key people that Justin just requested that he would like to stand with us. And one is Mr. Mike Delory, who was a part of the process. Delory was pivotal in making sure that Justin had the opportunity to present here. And all 3 police officers who once again were very hostile with justice.
Way on the end. Kind of contact. Okay. No, it's just, that's fine. As long as I can see, you can step forward a little bit. Okay. 1, 2, 3. We're good. Thank you very much.
Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the council of the city of Long Beach on Tuesday, July 17, 2018, 7 p.m. Roll call. Councilmember Benda. Councilmember Bandel.
Here.
Councilmember Moore.
Here.
Vice President Diamond.
Here.
President Aramo.
Here.
If the record indicate the presence of Acting City Manager Michael Tagney, we'll have a salute to the flag.
Mr. Variance, would you lead us? Just take a moment. All right. Would you please give us the city manager's update?
As we're sure everyone is aware, real estate tax bills were mailed out to residents last week. Unfortunately, due to a technical software error with one of our external vendors, some owners received bills that they should not have. If you typically do not receive a bill from the city because the process is handled by your bank, the banks will still be, or has still been billed directly. We apologize for any inconvenience this is caused. I'm going to skip all the Army Corps of Engineers. They will be doing a presentation on their own. Thanks to the thousands of folks who attended the city's fireworks extravaganza earlier this month. We'd like to again give special thanks to FedPage Federal Credit Union, whose generous sponsorship made the event possible. The city's annual Arts and Crafts Festival was phenomenal as well, with more than 200 vendors. It was one of the most crowded fireworks shows I've seen in my entire career. The city recently launched the summer marketing advertising campaign on social media to help promote our local businesses and boost beach revenue. This campaign is performing very well with our commercials reaching more than 33,000 unique users thus far, with 94% of viewers choosing to watch the entire video. It's a tremendous percentage. This is all done through social media. The city's free concert series is back in full swing, taking place, or canceled tonight, was the Arena Rock Tribute. Concerts take place 4 nights a week. A full movie schedule of concerts and locations. Visit longbeachny.gov/beach. In addition to our concerts, the Long Beach movie nights have been well attended this summer as well. Coming up this Saturday on Lincoln Beach at 8:15 will be Jumanji 2. August features include Weekend of Earnings and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Family Fun in the Park is underway on weekdays through the end of August. Direct is continuing to run its Family Fun in the Park program. Tomorrow will include an Arts and Crafts project at Magnolia Park. Thursday is a puppet show at the Rec, and Friday is Bubbles Day at Park Street Park. The city is having a blood drive. Blood is urgently needed. Every pint of blood has the potential to save 3 lives. We'll be holding the blood drive on Wednesday, July 25th at the Ice Arena. The blood drive is open to all, and donations will be accepted between 2:30 and 8:30. Long Beach Fire Department is having a wing eating contest at Riptides on the Boardwalk on Saturday, July 28th. For details, visit longbeachfd.com. And finally, as a friendly reminder, lifeguards are on duty, weather committee from 9 to 6, 7 days a week through September 3rd. Please remember that swimming is strictly prohibited when lifeguards are not on duty, and only swim near lifeguards. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the first item this evening is the public hearing for local law amending the charter of the City of Long Beach regarding Cold War veterans.
Okay, almost every community surrounding us has adopted this resolution, and it gives a property tax discount of about $40 to Cold War veterans, which is anyone that served from September 2nd, 1945 to December 26th, 1991. Again, it's a well-earned benefit, I believe, to the veterans. That's why I propose it.
Any questions from the council?
Just a quick, the resolution says it would be up to 4,000, but you think the average would be about $40?
Yes.
Anything else? Any questions or comments from the public on discount for Cold War veterans on property taxes? Okay, seeing none, close the hearing. Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry. Sorry, Ms. Volosevich. Please just state your name and address for the record. And please remember you have 3 minutes.
I don't do my address. Why does it stop at 1991? I mean, we have had men in service right up until today, fighting wars. Why does it stop at 91?
This is state law. This is not something that the city overruled. The state law has defined Cold War veterans for that period and has authorized a tax reduction.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Was there another hand? No? Okay, seeing no hands, I close the hearing.
Our second public hearing is for the purpose of providing all stakeholders with significant social, economic, and environmental interests and adequate opportunity to publicly present their views on an application for a special noise variance submitted by the Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company, LLC, for the Long Beach Contract 2 for beach nourishment and crossover construction.
Okay, I believe there's a presentation by Great Lakes, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Good evening. My name is Stuart Obendorf. I'm one of the project manager for Great Lakes for this Long Beach project. I just want to take about 5 to 10 minutes and explain what the project is to help you understand why we're looking for a noise variance. The project itself includes Point Lookout all the way down to Long Beach. What we're planning on doing is starting up at New York Avenue and pump towards the west towards Ohio as our first order of work. That's designated by the Dredge up on this chart. The reason why we're doing Long Beach first is because of 2 reasons. One is there's a clover situation in Point Lookout, and also it extends all the way down to Pacific Boulevard, where they've noticed birds and they've put a limit of 1,000 meters on us to getting close to their nest. So we're kind of limited to Long Beach Avenue. The second thing that has kind of limited us on choosing Long Beach to be done first is the borrow area that the Corps has given us. We have basically 2 borrow areas, one on the west side and one on the east side. The one on the west side has limited amount of quantity of material. We chose to pump that shortest distance, which is over to Long Beach, but we only have enough to get the yellow, the red, and the gray areas to pump on Long Beach. And then we have to move over to the east borrow area and finish the rest of the job. So a little bit about the schedule. We are planning on doing the gray area. We started up on July 14th, which was Saturday. We will be pumping in the gray area about 20 days, which will take us to about August 3rd. At that time, we want to move to the yellow area, which is from Long Beach Boulevard to Magnolia Boulevard. That will take from August 4th to August 18th, which is about 15 days. Then we'll keep on going to the west and do the red area, which will be from August 19th to September 7th, and is from Magnolia to Grand Boulevard. We're estimating 20 days also on that. These are all estimates. It does vary depending on weather. We assume that we're going to be getting about 200 feet of travel per day on each section. So that means each growing area will be finishing up in about 4 days' time. We will only be blocking off about 1,000 feet of beach per setup. And as we move along, if we move 200 feet, the whole 1,000-foot section moves 200 feet of blocking off. So we will clear an area, basically a jetty area, within 4 or 5 days. It'll be clear and you can use the beach. After we finish the red area, we will be switching over to the orange area. Basically, this is from Pacific Boulevard to Lincoln Boulevard. We plan on pumping in this area from September 8th through September 28th, which is about 20 days. And finally, we'll be doing the green area from September 29th to October 13th, which is 15 days. That extends from Lincoln to Long Beach Boulevard. This project, including Point And it's basically, the whole beach is 35,000 linear feet, which is about 6 nautical miles. The Long Beach portion, you'll be receiving 2,650,000 yards, which is about 63% of the total quantity. And that is spread out on 18,000 linear feet of beach, which is about 3 nautical miles. We do have some sand samples up here that we've taken from the discharge. There's been reports that it was very dark in color. Well, if you come up here and feel the sand, it is good quality sand. And that black color will change in about 2 weeks. It'll be bleached out as long as you have good sun. In about 2 weeks, it'll be bleached out to where you can't see the difference between the beach that's there now and the beach that we just pumped. We've done some things about the noise variance to eliminate some of the problems we've had in the past. We put a new beeper on the back of it. OSHA requirements require that you all have backup alarms on all our heavy equipment. But we've modified it and we put on basically a twitter, as they call it, and it's more of a quieter noise and it's more directional. It only works right behind the equipment. So you won't be hearing it off to the side, off to the front, like you do on the old beeper type. We also will be limiting our equipment usage. We'll still be working the beach, but we're not going to be working right up against the bulkhead or the boardwalk during the nighttime hours. We're going to be working more from about 200 feet off of the boardwalk out onto the water's edge at the nighttime. And we'll leave the boardwalk area for the daytime operations where we can work better. Basically, that's all I have. Got anything to add? We do have a short little video that it's what we've taken is a time-lapse pictures from our crab. We found another use for our little survey equipment out there. And it shows your beach and what we've done in about a 3-hour time span to see the equipment working. Yeah. Basically right here, you got 2 dozers working up in front. They're just dressing the beach, getting it ready for the pipeline. We're setting up a pipeline. We pump in 2 different areas so that we don't shut the dredge down. You'll see where we'll start pumping is where that very far dozer is working. And they're laying another line up forward so that we can pump ahead of the discharge of the first line while we're dressing it and getting it ready. Basically, you can see the operation right now. We are pumping water. It's starting to turn into a colored material. And they'll slowly work that material and fill it into the template. But we don't use a lot of equipment. We mostly let the water and the dredge do most of the work. All they do for the dozers is just kind of guide that water and make the water do all the work. You'll see very little bit of dozer work. You know, they're just trying to guide the water. They put up some dikes to just contain it into the template area, but most of it is being filled just by the use of the dredge, and all they do is monitor it. That's all I got right now. Any questions? Yeah.
Is this schedule with the 24-hour day work?
Yeah, that would be with the 24-hour day.
So if it's not 24 hours, then double the schedule?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You're dredging the sand from how far out?
It's about a half a mile offshore. That one photo was showing where the dredger was.
And what does that contribute to the shore, right, where you go into the water?
Oh, we're digging in depths of 35 to 40 foot of water. So we're beyond the effects of the beach itself.
But what is the extra sand on the beach then? Is it right back down because of the storms, there's like a steep drop off in a lot of areas?
Yeah.
Is it gonna help that or worse?
It'll definitely help it for a while, and then I'm not saying what the new growings are going to do. I mean, I haven't studied it, so you will have where they contain the sand. They should be holding the sand for it, so that you should have more gradualness.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
Hi. Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it, and it's exciting to see the work happening. So just to be clear, this is only for the pumping of the sand and the moving of the sand and not for pilings, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The piling will be restricted to 8 to 4.
And other than the dozers, as you call them, do you expect it to be very loud and actually break the threshold of that we have as an ordinance, or is this more of a, to just be careful?
Yeah, we've taken some readings as we work, and we're right around the 70 range, 75. It's not extremely loud.
Right.
And I would say the average is closer down to the 60s, 65.
And can you just talk about what the implications are for not working 24 hours a day?
It would more than double the length of time that we're on DR, because the delays will be hit harder with. We work with offshore weather, and when the seas hit, we gotta be out there and try to get as much time as we can when the seas are favorable enough to work. And that's why we work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, just to take advantage of the weather that we can.
Any other questions by the council?
I just have one question for you. The timelines that you presented to us for each of the distinct areas that were colored on the chart, that's assuming that the ordinance is approved tonight, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, I got a question.
So hold on one second, sir. 1 second. Anyone else from the council? Any questions from the public? Sir, come on up. State your name and address for the record.
Thomas Fitzpatrick, Laurelton Boulevard, Long Beach, New York.
Thank you.
So my question is, if you entered into this contract knowing that it would take a certain amount of time, now it's going to be about 3 months. Is that correct? You entered into the contract knowing that it would take approximately 3 months. And so now you have noise variance to speed it up.
This contract was never 3 months, even on my.
Well, how long was yours?
For this portion of the project, we have
estimated about 90 days that you see on that schedule. And then, of course, the other side is another 60 days, 75 days or so. So typically, this kind of work is done 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. And generally scheduled to be done when the weather is favorable to work in these conditions.
So pretty much double the length of time if we didn't get the variance.
That's correct.
That's my question.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public here to speak? Sir, come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sorry, call me sir. Roy Lester from Long Beach, New York. Just a quick question on the resolution. You only have it moving from New York Avenue going west, but that's not the case. And I mean, it's a simple fix. It should be west and east.
Can't hear you.
It starts from west, New York west, until it continues and completes.
Right, it starts west, but it doesn't move just west. The correct way to do it, moving west and east.
Right, but until the project completes, they may have a contingency or something they need to adjust. Maybe they'll do a different beach or something.
Why don't you just correct it so it's right?
It does say within the boundaries of the city of Long Beach.
Yes, it does, but west, it says moving west. It's so simple to correct it. Then you never have to worry about anybody in the east suing you guys because it said only west. It's so simple. Come in one
Mr. Lester, this was actually a question that a number of us have had with the resolution, and it was not deemed to be a mistake or error, as you are suggesting. I think that by saying that it's within the boundaries of the city of Long Beach, it just was clear that it was starting at that point, moving west, and then we were going east. I think it's understood and
So you don't want to
pretty clear. I don't think it's an error, so no, I don't want to fix it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Yes. Please state your name and address for the record. I'd just like to remind everyone that there is a 3-minute limit for speaking. I'm going to try and stick to that this evening. Thank you.
Kathleen O'Leary, 350 East Market Street, Long Beach. I don't feel like I'm in favor of this. Number one, you have people that get up for work in the morning every morning. They're going to be in their area for, let's say, 10 days. You have people that have kids that have to sleep at night. And you have people who are stuck in the house and can't get out. I understand the idea of speeding it up 24/7, but I think it would be more gentle on the residents if it was like from 8 in the morning until 11 at night maybe, not through the whole night. I mean, when I saw this, I think of Waco with the FBI playing music all day and night 24/7 to get the people to come out. You know, this is not something that I've ever seen done in civilization, you know, besides Waco. And maybe now they're saying Jared Kushner had extra construction in his buildings on the Upper West Side, get the rent control tenants out and make more money. So those are the two. Yeah, this is not good for people, is what I'm trying to say. It's not good for the quality of living. It's also not good for people using the beach. Okay, you go to the beach to relax. You don't go to the beach to listen to pile driving and bulldozers. Okay, so, you know, I understand where it has to be done, but I am not in favor of doing it 24/7. If this is not Waco, and I think it should be limited. And also, I have a problem with the way this is written. It's kind of written like it's a done deal. I think you should take the community's input possibly before the zoning board takes a vote, and then advise the zoning board as to what the community's feelings are on this. The way this is written, it's all written in the past tense as if it's a done deal, and we never, you know, two people have spoken on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just a quick response to that. We have been taking noise readings on a regular basis to get a feel for what the ambient noise levels are on the beach with or without the work ongoing. And we've only seen some minor differences for the work that we've been doing since we started on Saturday. So fairly noticeable, and might be a good idea for folks to try to get down there and actually experience it.
Well, if I could say, I don't live right on the beach, but I can hear noise from the middle of the Variance. I've already hearing. So, and we're all kind of tired of construction. We've had nothing but construction for 5 years, 6 years after Sandy, where we've had enough.
Understood. And, you know, our objective here is to get the job done and get out of your hair and try to get this protection put in place as soon as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leary. And this is a very common, or to have work operate 24 hours a day when you do these types of replenishment?
Yeah, it's a standard practice.
Standard.
I've been doing this for 40 years, and this is the first project that we've not worked 24/7.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, John Williams. Just a question. Could you go a timeline what it would be if it was like a 12-hour schedule for the 24-hour schedule? Because maybe we might get a better understanding that way. Because the way it was described, you know, we have our beach season, you know, it's like July to September 3rd. And we're going to lose a lot of our beaches, you know, but if it does go to 12 hours, they're going to be going into September and October, which is fine as far as we should be concerned at Long Beach, because we're not going in the water then. So if it extends a little longer, it extends a little longer. So, I mean, if you could tell us what your days would be, you know, you threw a bunch of days up there on a thing, but we really couldn't see or understand. Tell us what it would be for like 12 hours there.
Yeah, it would be. It would probably be more than double the time, because
you know, but in other words, whatever it is, you must have a schedule for the 24-hour day, and you must have a schedule for the 12-hour day. Do you?
You can assume that it will be at least the 90 days, will at least 180 days. And what will happen for us is that at some point we won't be able to work offshore, which is going to mean that we might have to come back for a second season. And the only time that we can work in Long Beach, because of the piping clover on the beach, is during the season now. We can't go to the east end of the island. If we could, we would go down there first and then come back here with less disruption for you during the beach season.
Okay, but that still doesn't explain what I'm asking. To do that.
It would take 100, the 90 days would take at least 180.
I understand that, but could you put it out so we all understand? In other words, you said this day to this day, this day to this day. It would be on a 12-hour day. Right now you have a 12-hour day, so you should really be giving us a schedule on a 12-hour day. Then, if you get a 24-hour day, it'll go from year to year. Can you do that?
We can provide those dates.
That's all. I'd like to hear it. Let's hear it, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question. I'd like to hear it.
Sure, Ms. Fiore, please come up. State your name and address for the record.
Fiore, Long Beach. First, I support the process moving ahead. I would just like to ask, you guys live in the West End currently?
I do.
And you're John? And I'm just curious to know, maybe you guys have experienced some of what the noise levels have been for the last couple of days. Have you had any, or the neighbors have had any significant issues as of now with the 12-hour time, as far as the noise during the 12-hour period?
I have not.
Okay, so I'm only asking because we're all concerned about a 24/7 problem, when right now we don't even have a 12-hour problem. So 24/7 may be less of an issue than some people might believe. I would also say this to anybody who has not seen this project or did not go to the presentation or has not read it. John, I understand 12 hours. We have to do this before hurricane season commences again. Getting our beaches open, working 24/7 allows our beaches to be open quicker and getting the work done faster in a shorter period of time. And if we have to bring them back, if we have to bring the company back in another year, it's only going to cost us more money. So this should be our last summer. Let's all just, to the expression, live with it, suck it up, and let's move on with it.
Name and address for the record.
This is being reimbursed 100%, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're not actually, we're not expensing anything, so it's not even a reimbursement.
Okay, well, what I'm wondering about this is if we cut this in half and if they have to come back next year, next season to finish this, how would that affect any payment? Is it going, as far as costs go? Because from what I understand, this is a FEMA thing? No. It's not FEMA. Who is paying for
This
this?
is funded by the Army Corps of Engineers
Army Corps of Engineers.
and the contract with Great Lakes Dredge.
Right, so how will this affect the payment if this has to go into a second season? How will this affect us taxpayers?
We're not paying anything for it, so that would be between their.
So it would be between them, okay, so with.
But we were warned that if the dredges do leave and go somewhere else, that it doesn't necessarily mean they come back promptly.
Okay, so we're better off just getting it done right away, which I also support doing.
Forever.
Okay. I just wanted to echo that. Because we were
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Blanchard. Anyone else from the public? Yes, Mr. Delory. Please state your name and address for the record. And thank you for participating and helping out that young Eagle Scout.
Thank you all. I just have one question. It's, I do support the project, by the way. If you could describe what you plan on, right now the pipe coming in is on Grand Boulevard. You finished New York Avenue, and now you're on to the next beach. At what point would you open beaches behind you?
Well, we could only have closed 1,000 beaches each at a time. So as we're moving forward, right now, we are opening beaches at New York to the first jetty, which is what, Pennsylvania? So that beach is being opened right now, and as we move farther to the west.
So possibly this weekend,
Yeah.
24 hours, New York, and then the next week might be.
Right, right. Yeah, as long as the weather holds up.
Understood.
Anyone else from the public?
Yeah, plus the beach is wider.
Anyone else from the public have a question about the waters lift? Yes, Mr. Duval, please. Name and address for the record.
Steve Duval, Long Beach. Just want to say I'm totally in support of doing this 24/7. I know it's inconvenient for some people for a beach not to be closed to go to the next beach, but finally getting this done, finally getting the beach secured. And it's got to be done obviously before hurricane season, because hurricane season actually starts June 1st, and just to extend it so it's going into October, November, it doesn't make sense. I fully support 24/7.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Yes, sir.
Alex Molinski, 76 Heron Street, Long Beach. The issue is noise, correct?
Yes.
And you have the capability to monitor noise levels, correct? So I don't know how the city enforces noise ordinances, but if you can collect the information on what you're doing, why don't you give it to someone, and we can then observe the incidence of, if you will, excess noise, whether it be during the day, whether it be during the evening, and understand whether or not you have a problem. We can do that proactively rather than waiting for a room full of people like this coming and screaming. Just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else from the public? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Harry Brandel, Long Beach. But I went down to West End. I think it's going very nicely. I wanted to check out the noise and stuff. The only noise that I see is the pilings. The pilings And when Ice Star wanted to start working, then when they played their little game. But that's, as far as that, we don't really have a choice. You know, it's gonna start getting colder. Once the hurricane season starts, the barge is gonna be going up and down. You start icing up, they're gonna have to pull it out. You know, so you really don't have a choice. I'd like to see it done as quickly as possible, as well as possible, and that's it. You can't do it in the winter.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else from the public? Any follow-up from the council? Okay, seeing no hands, I close the hearing.
Okay, reading the regular calendar. Item 1 is a local law amending the charter of the city of Long Beach regarding Cold War veterans. The hearing's been held on this item already. Item 2 is a resolution granting a special noise variance to Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company. The hearing's been held on this item already. On to the voting. So voting on item 1 is a local law amending the charter of the city of Long Beach regarding Cold War veterans. Who's for the adoption of this item? Second.
Since I happen to be a Cold War veteran, I would directly benefit from the passage of this, even though it's a small amount, so because of that, I feel it's appropriate for me to abstain.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Item 2 is a resolution granting a special noise variance to the Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company LLC. Who's for the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilman Bender.
So for people that have not gone down and seen this yet, I would suggest you go down and actually listen. I was down in New York Avenue the other night watching this. The noise is not overly obnoxious, and we're only talking about inconveniencing people for a day, 2 at most, since they're moving 200 feet a day. With hurricane season coming, I can't in good conscience tell people we could have protected you, but we didn't because we only wanted to do work during the day. So because of that, I vote yes.
The reality is there's never a perfect time for this type of work to be done. But the city is in dire need of this renovative work. And the problem that we're dealing with is there's a time constraint and also ever-changing weather conditions. I believe it's better to do the work now to protect and preserve the city rather than regret it later. So I vote yes.
I just want to just echo the sentiments of my fellow colleagues. I just want to say that our protection is a priority. Therefore, I vote yes. Earlier this week, I had an opportunity to go down to the work site and listen to the noise and really understand exactly what the project is. And while I recognize that this presents an inconvenience, whether it's the noise or the project itself, we can't be in a position that we didn't do something that could have protected us going into hurricane season. And for that reason, I vote yes.
Very proud to be a part of the council that said yes to the LongBeachCOA project and moving this forward as quick as possible. I think is a priority for everyone. I vote yes.
I will. I will.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right. Turn them on. All right, so now we start our good and welfare. As everyone knows, it's 3 minutes of uninterrupted time. The last couple of meetings have gotten a little bit out of control. We're going to I'm going to try and please keep everyone to 3 minutes. You should be able to make your point within 3 minutes. I don't think that's too much to ask. And also the quorum. We've let it get out of control where folks are now cursing and doing lewd signatures to various people up here on the council. That's just not appropriate. That's not the city I think any of us want to live in, whether you disagree with any one person or not. So I ask you to refrain from that. Should that kind of behavior continue, we will ask you to leave. So with that, I'll start with Senator Todd Kaminsky. state your name and address for the record.
Todd Kaminsky, 125 East Broadway, Long Beach. Good evening. As you know, this is my first time as an elected official addressing the council, and I would not do so if I did not think it was important or merited our working together in collective decision-making in order to move forward. I believe some of the issues that have appeared in the newspaper and have been front and center in front of the council about separation payments have gotten to a suffocating point in this city, whereas I hear from constituents all the time about it. People are very frustrated about their inability to get answers. And I think every taxpayer has the right to know what happened with their tax dollars, to know how it happened. And perhaps most importantly, to have assurances that there are safeguards so that such things will not happen again, especially to the extent that the council members may not have been the ones who put them in place in the first place or may not have known about them. At any rate, it's important that we have a handle on what's going on. And everybody in Long Beach should know that their tax dollars, which they work very hard to pay, are safeguarded with the utmost transparency and with the highest ethical standards. As some of you know, I was a federal prosecutor for 6 years, and when a company would learn that there was even a hint of impropriety or scandal or even just a complaint made, those companies would do an internal review. The companies would not say, hey, look, someone's looking around here. When they put out a report, I guess we'll read it together. They would take proactive steps to find out what took place in their own shop. I think it would help all of us moving forward if the city did that. And whether it's in the form of someone who did this for a living, who now is in private practice, or the city undertake expertise to do its own audit, its own report, so what happened, its own recommendations as to how to prevent this going forward. I think it would collectively serve us all. I think it would serve the city very well, especially because none of us are in control of the timing of the controller's audit, and that could take a long time. And I think it's very hard for us to move forward and do some of the good things that are planned with this cloud hanging over us. And I got a pretty big district, and I go talk to people from all around the state, and people want to know what's going on in Long Beach, and they want to know what happened. And I think there's some basic answers that our citizenry and the state deserve, the questions that they deserve answers to. And I think the city should be proactive in getting them, proactive in reforming those measures, proactive in moving forward and doing some good things. But we're never going to get there unless we take care of first things first. I urge you to do that. I will be helpful in any manner I can to use my office in any way possible. There are some basic questions that have to be answered first.
So if I could just respond. So we are frustrated too, like many residents, about an inability to get answers. But we joined with you and legislative for the comptroller to come and do an audit. There's no one more independent. I assume you trust the ability of the New York State comptroller and the independence of the New York State. I mean, what's more independent than another agency that we're not paying for, right? And then we also have the Nassau DA is working collectively with the comptroller. So I, as an elected official, do trust the New York State comptroller and the Nassau DA, which is what the voices that cried first wanted, and we all requested it. But then we also get into a legal realm where we've been advised differently about having another independent person come in here, and I think Council Variance can speak to that better than I can in whatever legalese you guys talk to each other in. But we are looking forward to the report, to the examination, and I think it's prudent for us to make those changes that we may need when we get that report. I think most of the council is in agreement on that. And to bring someone in here now that taxpayers are going to have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars when it's already happening. An examination like that would be very expensive for the taxpayers. So, Rich, can you speak to the process that we advised by the EA?
Can you hear me? I think the only real concern there, you I don't presume to know anything about federal prosecution, but I know a little bit about how we've operated with the state in the past. And essentially, when an investigation by the DA is made public, if we proceed to go to some other independent audit or investigation, there's a potential there for, I believe in federal work, it's called Brady materials that have to be turned over to possibly compromise an investigation. There's also a state analog called Rosario materials, which also have to be disclosed, which basically could compromise the DA's and the comptroller's investigation. So there's definitely a legal concern there. We're advised against that.
Yeah, we get a whole debate on that. I mean, so basically, when someone puts a statement to paper, that then has to later be turned over to someone's defense attorney because they may have said something exculpatory. So,
Actually, time, Senator.
So, and I think the Senator will appreciate this, but if we are going to keep a 3-minute rule, it's got to be for everybody. Please just wrap up. I appreciate it.
He represents us. All I would say is from Fortune 500 companies to mom and pop stores, when people have gotten subpoenas and then had boxes carried out, much worse circumstances than we see here. People have called in people to do their own assessment. It's an option. It's something you could look into. It's my suggestion, and you guys can make your own legal determination. But I think it would behoove us to get this out of the way.
Disrespected you like he does everyone else.
Thank you. I'm sorry, that's going to be your first warning. One more outburst and then I'll say a few words. Legislative release board.
Thank you, Todd.
Denise Woodward, I'm going to be very, very brief. I want to thank Senator Kaminsky for speaking and on behalf of the residents here. One recommendation, cheap one, I guess, would be, how about a concerned group of citizens being allowed access to the city records overseen by Mr. Variance or city official, and if it costs us anything, maybe people can finally get the information we're calling for. All right, and in the legislature, even though we have a 3-minute rule, we allow elected officials, if they want to take 10 minutes, they have the right to speak. I love to say, but and certainly so, he should be allowed to speak it. But one thing, the water park, it's been on overnight. It's fresh aquifer water. We're trying to protect our water supply, and it's irresponsible and possibly negligent on the part of the city that in cool weather, rain, overnight, that water keeps pumping. You've got to come up with something. Georgia Avenue, I didn't. Yeah. And I don't know where else, but it's disgraceful that it's constantly running, and you know, it's like do something. Raise water, recycle with water. Okay. You're going to hear from somebody about in regard to the water taxing. I know it's been brought to my attention. I believe it's good for economic development. That means that we could add something exciting to the city. It would provide an opportunity for other growth. We'd have less cars in the city, and possibly can set up something where we could bring people down to the West End and to a lot of the restaurants, because you can't park in the city, especially in the West End. So I think it would open up an avenue to bring in a lot of people, possibly from Manhattan, back into our area of town and really start, you know, giving a boost to our businesses. The last time I was here, we talked about the plan reports. Remember, it was the money that you bonded, and it was like you added 500,000 more above and beyond the 1.3 million. And we talked about it. I guess City Manager Taggy had said, well, that's for Social Security. So I've been doing some investigation, and I do have copies of our claim forms that people use whenever they leave the city. And I'm sorry, I don't have enough for everybody. I do apologize. But just to let you know that doing my research, what happens is that when people get a severance, when they get a claim, they put in a claim for separation pay, and they get, say, $108,000. From that money, from the employee's money, that is where the Social Security and the taxes come from. So, you know, Mr. Tagney had said that the $500,000 was to be used, that he believed, for Social Security, but that's incorrect. The Social Security and taxes get paid by the employee. So whatever the gross amount is that that person gets, that gets taken out, and then they have a net amount, which is usually less. That gets paid. So that $500,000 that you bonded for, you know, it leaves very questionable as to what you really needed it. I think that that's, and had I known more, and I'm sorry I didn't, that I was a little confused about it, but I did some research with our own county people. So, you know, I think that you overbonded in that case. But thank you. But once again, I think that you really should. Senator Kaminsky deserves much more respect.
I never felt like we were official that we were any more important than anyone else, and I told him maybe point within the 3 minutes. So I think to residents, that everyone gets their 3 minutes. That everyone gets their 3 minutes.
I understand that, but in all fairness, I mean, we have people always, and I don't always ask for more than 3 minutes. Sometimes I push for 30 seconds. And I know
And that's
but I
completely
won't.
but they were about to start a debate on the legal merits of something, which I don't think is
But it's not
appropriate for
legal.
this.
3 minutes is a guideline. It's not a hard and fast rule. And what happens is that, you know, when you have something, and I'm sure that if Senator Schumer or Gillibrand came to, or Congresswoman Rice came to speak before you, it really would be rather insulting if you said all of a sudden to Kathleen, well, your 3 minutes is up. You know, he is the party of government. He is really he is a resident here, and I think the fact that we took the time out, I really think that.
Senator Kaminsky has been more than enough a partner with us, and it had nothing to do with the relationship between Senator Kaminsky and the city. And
right. But I think that
we should all be held to the same standards, is what my thinking. Thank you, legislator. Alex, Logan. Alex?
Alex Mobley. Mobley. So, two observations, and I would like to give you 3 questions for updates. First, thank you so much, Senator Kaminsky, for suggesting a common practice that industry and government uses, which are advisory panels, like boards of directors, but non-binding advisory panels, which are a great way to get an understanding for what's going on. In fact, that's exactly what I suggested in writing to each one of you. Mr. Vandal, Mr. Mandel, and Ms. Moore responded back to me. Mr. Cagney responded back as well and said, we should wait until we get a city manager for that. So that comes to my first question. Apart from the fact that you seem to be intransigent about moving forward to create a proactive mechanism that will give you the fact-based information you need, my first question is, what's the status of hiring a full-time city manager? My second question is based, and I was really thrilled to hear your concern about protecting the island. Okay? I live in the canals. I live in the lowest point in Long Beach. My street flooded 5 days in a row last week, and we're facing a hurricane season. So what is the status of the capital improvement project for the canals? That's really my second question. And my third question is, I do understand that the city is facing some litigation with potential damages. My update request from the council is, when do we see this resolving? I'm not asking for confidential information. I'm not asking for any information on the negotiations. I'm asking for some sense of timeline. Because I think myself and everybody else in this room is expecting yet another special tax assessment. So the question becomes one of timing. I understand the strategies to minimize that claim as much as possible. So those are the 3 issues I'd like updates on. And I'm more than willing, as I'm sure a number of other folks are, to work with the council on an external advisory panel to get some facts rather than waiting for what's going to be a lengthy and complicated process. What are we supposed to do, and what are you supposed to do in the meantime for facts, data, and information? Thank you.
Thank you. I was looking for the Commissioner of Public Works had to leave to give you an update on the canal situation.
I speak with Mr. Miranda frequently, so I can call him directly.
Okay, so then you're aware of what's going on in the canals. Obviously, we know that that's really
where
Well,
the
why don't
flood
you
really
come down when
occurs
it
from.
floods, because nothing's going to get done.
It floods in a lot of places, sir, including where I live. We're waiting for an Army Corps project, I think, a study, an Army Corps study to see what can be done back there. We do have the critical infrastructure project that's occurring in the middle of town where there's never been any sort of protection. But then also the public areas of the CRP, I guess John can probably speak to that a little more fluidly than I can, but the CRP money that we got from the state is going to protect public sections of the bulkhead. Which is a start, because as we all know, that it's not uniform across the whole north end, that causes problems. So, and where we are with the city manager, I think we do desperately need someone full-time, whether acting or not. The commissioner has been very gracious and has given us loads of his time, and I think the police department needs him back right away. So, I think we're at a standstill at this moment, but I hope that the council can come together on an acting city manager at least very soon, because the city desperately needs someone full-time.
The question was, where are we in hiring a manager?
And we're at a standstill at the moment, sir.
Is that because we couldn't source candidates? Is that because the candidates that we sourced?
There's various reasons. There's various reasons why, and I think that's a conversation that the council will have. Thank you. Megan O'Donnell. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hi, Megan O'Donnell, Georgia Avenue, Long Beach, New York. Just wanted to speak about your search for the city manager. I'd like to request that when you're reviewing the candidates and the credentials to fill the city manager position, I ask that you judge them based on the following criteria. First and foremost, they should be or intend to be a full-time Long Beach resident. Second, they should not be under investigation for receiving separation of Third, they should not have contributed to any one council member's campaign for election. Finally, once you narrow down these elections, I ask that you announce who they are prior to you voting on them. Then I request that you hold a town hall meeting for the residents to come and ask questions and to get to know your final selections. I believe that having this open dialogue between your final selections and the residents will only help you to make a more informed decision. My other, for the person who will manage our city day to day. It will also help to promote a level of transparency that our city so desperately needs.
Thank you. Tina Posteri. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Tina Posterly, Long Beach. Over the past months, I've been actively engaged in what's been going on here, and I've sat through several of these meetings, waiting to hear a good answer, really any answer, about the financial mess we're in, the state of separation payments, and timetable and process for filling the position of city manager. It's been quite discouraging, to say the least. And I'm also discouraged by the comment Commissioner Miranda made that the real problem with our city is the small group of complainers that come to these meetings. Who may echo this, the voices of this small group of complainers reverberates on every baseball field, every softball field, every soccer and lacrosse field, in all of our diners, at the beach, on our streets, and in our neighborhoods. Don't make the mistake of thinking people aren't listening and don't care, and that they won't weigh in during times that matter the most, like the next city council election, because make no mistake, they will. Our city government needs to do better for the people it represents. One way to make a change here for the better is to adopt a fair, transparent process in hiring a city manager, as others have just echoed here. one that's currently not employed by the city, one who can look at things here through a fresh lens and perspective. And I'm not looking for a response from you today. I just want to pose two questions. For those of you who choose to perpetuate this form of bad government, is this the legacy you wish to leave behind? And is this how you want future generations to remember you? I urge you to think long and hard about those questions, and then do the right thing by the community you were elected by and appointed to represent. Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Here in Long Beach, New York. We've listened to a number of people, and I don't want to belabor the point, but obviously having a city manager is of utmost importance. Not only a city manager, but a comptroller. We're in a fiscal crisis here, and we do not have a permanent comptroller either. Tonight you spoke about how the city council is at a standstill. What is that standstill? Is it that we cannot seem to generate applications for the job? Are we not looking in the right places? Do we need to hire a headhunter?
Yes.
Maybe, do we need to find a search committee? Yes. I think there's people in this community that are probably very capable of doing the job. I don't think it's right that we should have to live with whoever is appointed as an acting. I think it's time, it's 7 months plus, that we should be able, as a group, it does not bear well on the city council that you're unable to come to a decision on having hired probably next to you the single most important employee of the city, and a comptroller. So if we have a situation here where we can't seem to find the right candidates, then we got to start looking elsewhere. And the standstill, is it just to hold out long enough to see who we can drop into the spot? This is nothing against Mr. Agostisi or anybody else that's been pointed at for the position. This is about finding the right person to take this city to the next step and get us out of the hole we're in. Enough is enough.
Name and address for the record.
Good evening, Jay Gusta, Long Beach. Just to pick up where Senator Kaminsky left off. So the city has adopted the stance that we're going to solely rely on the audit being conducted by Tom DiNapoli, the New York State Control.
In the New York State Comptroller's Office and the Nassau District Attorney's Office, yes.
That same Tom DiNapoli that is arguably the most aggressive backer of Jack Sherman's we're saying who could be more impartial. I think that this could potentially pose a problem for Jack Sherman, and let's face it, DiNapoli is very tight with Jack Sherman. So impartial, I'm not buying. Second thing is my understanding that Madeline Singers is basically awaiting the outcome of the comptrollers, the New York State Comptroller's audit, before she takes any or initiates any kind of criminal investigation. So if that's so, and if, as the New York State Comptroller's Office has said, the results of their audit could be as much as 9 months or more out, that would mean that Singers isn't even going to start to take a look at it until that report has been done. It may be a pricey endeavor for us to turn around and get our own auditor to take a look at the books, a private auditor to take a look at the books, but we're talking about a lot of money here. And in addition, still unresolved is whether or not any future recipients of these kinds of monies are going to be paid pursuant to the old formula, which we're not sure is correct, or whether they're going to be applied, have the formula applied to them as it's written in the code. So it's pretty important that we get to the bottom of A, whether or not these guys are paid the correct amounts, and B, whether or not the formula that was used to arrive at their payments is the formula that we should be arriving at. There's going to be some exempts leading between now and the issuance of Comptroller's DiNapoli's report. You guys really need to get together and figure out how you're going to pay those separating employees. Are you going to pay them according to the questionable formula that's been used in the past, or are you guys going to get nail down firmly what they're entitled to, what the process should be applied to calculating their payments, and make sure that they're paid the right amount so we don't have to go through this again.
Eileen Hession. Please state your name and address for the record.
Eileen Hession, Long Beach. Some of this has been stated already tonight, but I do want to belabor it because sometimes you don't hear it and it needs to be repeated. These are just some of the thoughts about our great city. First, the 9 a.m. meeting called last week was a disgrace. The Long Beach organization chart lists the residents as at the head. The city council, city manager, and corporation council are listed below the residents, meaning they work for the residents. Please remember that. Second, I would like to suggest that if an acting city manager is being considered, that job be given to the two people who are currently working as deputy and assistant city manager until a full-time city manager is chosen. Isn't that what an assistant is supposed to do? Step in when the boss can't take care of it. Third, the city is in trouble. There have been many financial and personnel decisions made over time that have been bad for this city. Mr. Aramo, you've been here for 6 years and have not corrected or changed those things. That is why we are where we are today. Broke with an angry citizenry. I'm going to tell you a few of my beliefs, and my question at the end will be, do you agree with me? Number one, I believe our new city manager should be someone from outside this system, someone who can look at our city with new eyes, new perspective, and bring in new ideas. Our leaders need help, and it must be from outside the inner circle. Two, I believe the new city manager should be a full-time, permanent hire, not an acting CM, not temporary. Three, I believe in the qualifications you have listed as duties of the new city manager. For example, a high level of integrity, tact, diplomacy, and discretion. We do not want someone with a short fuse, but someone who speaks respectfully to the residents and community leaders and respects the democratic process we have here that allows us to ask questions, expect answers, and express opinions. Four, as you require, the city manager should live in Long Beach, not just rent an address, but be part of our community, full-time, family and all. Five, no city manager should be chosen until the questionable payments have been investigated and explained. So my question, do you agree with those beliefs and will you follow them?
In principle, I do agree with some of them, yes.
Is there anything that you want to discuss? I still have a minute left at least.
No, but I do agree we need a full-time city manager as soon as possible.
Not an acting.
No. Amy Powell. Please state your name and address for the record.
Amy Potter, Penn Street, Long Beach. Just wondering if there was an update about the mobility maps. I had asked last meeting, and I was told that things would be looked into.
I don't have an update. No. Brian, do you know anything about the new mobility maps? No. I'm sorry, we don't have an update for you. Yeah, it's on the form, right?
Is there anyone that can take her information so that we can follow up on this? Why not? Because she was here for the last meeting.
Yep.
Ryan, can you take her sign sheet and just gather her contact information so that we can have the Commissioner Miranda reach out to her?
Mr. Delory, you're next.
Mike Delory, Long Beach, New York. I'd like to first start off by thanking council members for inviting Eagle Scout Justin Cornell tonight and recognize his accomplishments. It sets a good example for the younger scouts. And thank you, Councilwoman, for attending his ceremony. What I want to hand out to you is an article in today's paper. There's one of each. There should be 7 copies here. And basically it points out it just compares the overtime, which I've spoken a couple of times before about, but now you have a comparison. The town of Hempstead is the largest employer of any town or city government on the island. This is news there, I believe it's page 819 today. The city of, the town of Hempstead has reduced its total overtime in 2016 to $2.1 million. I'd like to just point out that the city of Long Beach's overtime this past fiscal year is $2.9 million. The town of Hempstead employs 10 times as many employees as the city of Long Beach. The most overtime in 2017 was for a water service supervisor, Mr. Slater, which was $17,357. The point is that I'm pointing out to you is A, we have no city manager for the past 7 months. I'm not going to reiterate what everybody else before me just said. Number 2, we have not had a city controller for 7 months. Those 2 positions are key to financial stability, as you all know that. I don't have to point that out. This is not an indictment against any decision making. However, Friday morning, I was extremely alarmed when I first heard the rumor that maybe it wasn't a rumor, that a decision was reached or soon to be reached about appointing a person to be acting city manager. I know my time is up. I don't want to belabor the issue. I'd like to close on a high note. Thank you for your service, but you have to really deal with the overtime issue. Thank you.
Thank you. So the 2 points of overtime that I would make is basically been almost eliminated at this point, just for under Commissioner Tagny. But the big difference between us and the town of Hempstead is our first responders. We do have our own police department, and we do also have a career fire department. So that would be one big difference, and that's a large source of our overtime in the city. Ms. Stephanie Surratt. Thank you, Ms. Surratt. Please just state your name and address for the record.
I hope you don't take it away from my time, but I do want to apologize. I do want to thank Senator Kaminsky and Legislator Ford for appearing here tonight. And I have to apologize for not being allowed to, they had to stick to the 3 minutes. And I think the senator and the legislator should be allowed to have an extra few minutes to say their piece. Having said that, idea is, why is it 3 minutes? You can't really get out what you have to say in 3 minutes. I mean, that's a pretty short time. But I have 3 things to say. I'll say it as fast as I could because we probably already used up 1 of my minutes. I'm surprised that no one has spoken tonight about the huge tax rates that we've all been hit with. I, for one, thought it was a shock when I opened up my tax bill. I actually called up to ask if this could be an error, and I was told, well, you elevated your house. True, I elevated my house, but I was mandatory elevated. I had no choice. And now for complying, I'm being penalized for mandatory elevation through my taxes. My market value went up $245,000. Something's wrong with that picture. I mean, it sounds good to have your house be more than that, but on the other hand, you're paying taxes on that. I didn't add any square footage. I didn't change the footprint. As I said, yes, it sounds good that your fair market value goes up, but this was with no notice. I'm already struggling with our high taxes in Long Beach, and now I have to worry my tax rate is doubled, and I have to now, as a senior alone, disabled, low income, and food stamps, I have to worry about where am I getting these thousands of dollars in August, and what's going to happen to me? Who do I go to? Who do I ask? What do I do when I can't come up with this money? I'll just be hit with late fees and interest, and you know, who do I see about that? It's an outrage that my bill was raised double, and some people I've heard have been raised triple. Moving along, I heard in the last council meeting that someone proposed an outrageous idea of parking meters, which I'm totally against. I'm sorry, just finish on 15 seconds, I'll talk fast. Parking meters, that's ridiculous. We already have nowhere to park, and to put parking meters, and we should have to pay to do that, and the money goes to the city. I find that an insult. The last thing, just to wrap it up, I heard my beeping. I know it's not a popular thing, but we're spending money on fireworks, concerts, all those things you mentioned ahead of time. It all makes the city look good, but who's paying for that? All of the taxpayers are paying for all of those things. And I think that's somewhere where we might be able to look into the budget to cut down on things like that, instead of putting a deficit onto our tax bills. Thank you very much for listening.
Harry, is it Brandful? Right. I'm sorry, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Randall, East 10th Street, Long Beach. Right. You guys know what these are, right?
I can't tell from here. Sorry.
Okay. Everybody knows what these are? Okay. So as I was sitting, filling it out the other day, I was thinking that sitting in this chair was Mr. Agostino, that you were thinking about having as city council, all right, and or city manager. And I'm thinking, I'm paying all this, just voted to raise the bond issue, and he's the one that's going to be trying to raise the bond issue. And I'm sitting here, I've been a resident for 41 years. I've never seen him out on the boardwalk. I've never seen him out at any event. And the man lives in Dix Hills, and this is who we are going ahead, and one of the people you think about voting on, he doesn't, if he doesn't even live here, doesn't care about the city, and doesn't pay any taxes to the city, what is he doing raising our taxes? All right? And we have other problems. We have iStar and other things. What, you go ahead and you vote on raising taxes or overdeveloping the city, and he doesn't even want to live here? What interest does he have? You're going to have to find somebody that lives in town, all right? There's plenty there. I mean, I've been here for 41 years, okay, and Long Beach traditionally has a history of corruptions and backroom politics, but never in my life have I ever seen what is going on right now. That's why we just voted in November on the floor that November is coming. Okay, I'm out all the time, out on the boardwalk and in other places, and this is what I'm hearing. People are fed up with you guys, all right? And, you know, there's got to be some way, okay? This is not working. I'm paying you. They're paying you, okay? And you better start thinking about, unless you're expecting ISTAR to pay you as a salary, all right? I expect that you'll start working for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Nugent. Please state your name and address for the record.
Pat Nugent, report. Question. I responded to an RFP in 2015. Responded to an RFP in 2015, 2016, along with my partner Brian Radisher, who's a Long Beach resident. And we're just trying to figure out how we're going to get some traction on this project. I know a bunch of you are familiar with it, with the water taxi system here on the north side and the bay side. And I guess I'm here just trying to get some answers of, how do we move this forward? I hear all the things, about the financial situation. We're looking to bring you guys a project that's going to cost zero for the city. I feel as though it's going to bring a lot of benefits to the city. And we're just trying to figure out how we can get this thing on the ballot and move this thing forward, or an answer of what happened. We won 2015 and 16. Anything that?
If you're looking on Tuesday last week, if you want to take this here, it talks about channel hopping, where they have water taxis up and down Long Island. Our partners acquire our own water taxi. We look like this is economic growth for the city of Long Beach. We have our approvals from the DEC. We only call the town of Hempstead. In my opinion, this is a no-brainer for the city. We're financing it. We're also donating slips to Long Beach Police Department, Long Beach Fire Department, National County Marine Bureau, United States Coast Guard. All of this is something that's needed on this barrier island. There's been a lot of water rescues, and there's going to continue to be a lot of water rescues. What we're looking to do is get some answers and move forward on this project. We are having a meeting this Thursday at noon at Bridgeworks with Patty Bourne, I guess, from Economic Development. He was sent an email, I guess, from the Chamber of Commerce. If any of you can respond and come to it, we'd really like to see you all there. That's it. If not, hopefully we can reschedule for another time. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy.
So the Commissioner Tagney had just approached us prior to the meeting and asked us to, set up a meeting with the winning bid for the water taxi project. So I think that should be happening very soon.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Roy Wilson.
First, I have to comment on the disrespect I feel. I have to comment on what I felt was the disrespect for Mr. Kaminsky, Senator Kaminsky. You know what? I watched the tapes afterwards. When it's somebody that's praising you guys, like the last speaker at the last scheduled meeting, who was saying how great you guys were and busy attacking a 16-year-old who comes here for democracy, you didn't stop him in 3 minutes. Not at all. Look at the tapes. Yet as soon as somebody comes up here and is in any way critical, boom, that's it. That's it. 3 minutes. That's just wrong. It's wrong, and it's especially wrong to Mr. Kaminsky. Now, the other thing is, you said that just a couple of minutes ago that overtime's been virtually eliminated.
It's been very low with our CSA work.
Then why in the budget you have overtime for the police at 1.14 million? Overtime for the fire department at 503,000. Overtime for the ice arena, 9,500. Overtime for celebrations, 35,000. Overtime for street maintenance, 165,000. Overtime for sanitation, 160. Overtime for snow removal, 150. Overtime for transportation, 109,000. That doesn't sound like it's being eliminated. We're talking millions of dollars. Why do you say it's being eliminated?
I said it's very low and virtually eliminated. It's virtually eliminated, but we all get the same report, and the reports are very low, and I was not including police and fire.
Well, that's, when our tax bills come in,
And that's an annual, and that's a budget that's annual. Right? Beach maintenance needs overtime in the summertime. We all enjoy beautiful beaches because beach maintenance is out there.
No, if things are scheduled properly, you don't need overtime.
Actually, we do a lot of good work for it.
It's just disingenuous to say overtime's been virtually eliminated.
There is no overtime that occurs in the city right now without approval from the city manager.
It's still, you budgeted for $2 million, at least $2 million you budgeted for. So, but the reason I wanted the question I have was, can you explain to me the July 13th meeting? What was the urgency for a special meeting?
We had the air conditioner that needed to be voted on.
But that was all done. If you look at the tapes from July 3rd, Mr. Miranda said that was all taken care of, and it's going to be taken care of the next day. He said that.
You're mixing up air conditioning units, sir.
Look at the tapes, Anthony.
If I can just respond, I think there's some confusion. Mr. Miranda's comments at the two meetings ago regarding air conditioning were related to the air conditioning in the main city hall building. There was still an issue with the air conditioning in the police department, which included the fire department as well. So that was a separate unit that needed to be voted on. We found a solution that was able to be installed rather quickly, and it's actually outside the parking lot. You can pass it on the way.
You couldn't wait 3 days for a meeting.
I don't think that we could be in a position I don't think we wanted to ask our police officers or our firefighters to go any longer without sufficient air conditioning. It's hot.
So you called an emergency meeting. How much notice do you give the public on an emergency meeting? How much are you required to give?
By law, it's 12 hours. By law, I think it's 12.
And you didn't know about this air conditioning until 12 hours beforehand?
We were waiting for purchasing. If we could have done it Thursday, we would have done it Thursday.
So you found out Thursday that you were purchasing the air conditioning?
We knew that the solution was happening, and we were waiting to open up the bids or whatever the purchasing agent had to do, so we were ready to go. As soon as the purchasing agent was ready to go, we called the meeting.
And when was that? They were ready to go on Thursday afternoon?
I think I signed it on Thursday.
And so you called the meeting for the next day rather than... I just think that's...
I would have done it that same day if I was able to.
Okay. I kind of think that's disingenuous to the public too. The public should be entitled to know when these meetings are, not 12 hours ahead of time with these emergency meetings. It's just not right. It's, I don't know any other public body that conducts himself that way. Time's up.
That's your time. Thank you, sir. John McNally. Name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening, everybody. John McNally, 613 West Walnut Street. Basically reinforcing what most other folks here are saying. 7 months without a city manager, there's, I don't know, I can't with life with me sort of come up with why that would be. Sorry, everybody. 7 months, no city manager is bizarre. So, I would urge a rapid conclusion to finding a permanent city manager. I wasn't going to comment on air conditioning or the Friday meeting, but my understanding is that the police department's been without air conditioning for 6 years or something along those lines.
That's the rumor thing coming and going, yep.
And there was, I'm sure nobody here is immune to the rumor mill that's going on Facebook, so it doesn't add up and it doesn't sort of read well for the residents to say that meeting was only about air conditioning. And And then the last part that I would say here is I totally back Senator Kaminsky's notion, that I believe was also espoused by Councilman Bendo. I don't think anybody digs the vibe that's going on here. You got to be a sadist, and I don't believe any of you to be. There might be one or two behind you that are. But you know, I think the only way to resolve that is to get answers. And I understand that Corporation Counsel has, you know, an opinion that there's potential conflicts here. I am no lawyer, but I've worked with enough lawyers and worked for an agency that has lawyers that, you know, I'm smart enough to know that quite often your counsel will give you the opinion that you ask for, or that you so desire. So I think if there is a will to move forward with something like that, there is a way. Case in point, residents and the public are entitled to 3 minutes of uninterrupted time here, and separated employees are entitled to 30% time of separation.
Nancy Goldman. You state your name and address for the record.
Nancy Golden, Long Beach, New York.
Can't hear you, Nancy.
Okay, I'll yell. Long Beach, New York, Nancy Golden here. My first issue is the lack of speed limit signs on the block of East Pine Street between Long Beach Road and Monroe Boulevard. I had spoken about this last year and the commissioner knew about it and told me that there's a speed limit sign on Long Beach Road when you go to make the turn, the left-hand turn to go up east towards the canals. I actually followed somebody that was going probably 50 miles an hour down the block, made a right turn without stopping at the stop sign, went through the stop sign at Fulton Street, all the way down to Park Avenue where another car got in front of me. I lost track of them when I got to Long Beach Road. No police cars in sight, but there were children on the corners waiting for their pickups for their camp. Anybody could have been killed, people walking their pets. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, on top of the fact that the guys that work at Mavis Tire use the parking lot behind the building to park clients' cars, and they randomly shoot out of that lot going the opposite direction on Pine Street to get into one of the bays of the store on Long Beach Road. It's ridiculous. And actually, one time, I almost got hit just going down my block, and I know they're there all the time. And the second thing is, just for Harry, I brought my tax bill. I'm just going to read. It says first half payment, and then the next thing is full payment. There's no second payment on here. It doesn't equal half. The first payment doesn't equal half. Isn't that illegal?
See,
False documents here.
it may have been the glitch that the city manager had spoken about earlier in the meeting. I'm not quite sure if you fall into that group.
I
I
didn't
don't
live
know.
my house at all.
No, I'm not talking about the rates itself. It was folks got tax bills that don't normally get one.
Mortgage? No, I'm paying the Small Business Administration loan so that I could put my house back together. Nothing to the effect of what he said.
I would ask you to call the tax assessor's office and ask them if there was a problem with your bill. Okay. And can you just state again the street where there's no signs? It was
The 200 block of East Pine Street.
200 East Pine, okay.
Walgreens is on the south corner, Mavis Tire is on the north corner.
Okay.
There's only like 5 or 6 houses on the block, and there's also construction on the block as well, so it gets pretty hairy there.
Thank you, Ms. Goldman, thank you. Ms. Lawrence.
Long Beach. I just have a few things. So in the rules of order that was sent out, there is a line that says that further time is granted by the council, so I think you could have granted Mr. Kaminsky some extra time. I'm a bit confused about why we have to give out our address, because Mr. Taggy personally told me I didn't need to state my address, and Mr. Agostini backed it up. So that's just...
And he advised me that I have to ask for it for the record, and if you choose
Yeah,
not to give it, if you choose not to give it.
I'm just confused about it because a lot of stuff stopped a number of years ago, but that's neither here nor there. So my other question was, I sent an email to all the city council last week and I did not get one reply back. So Mr. Fraser, am I on the naughty list again? Am I blocked again? Okay, thanks. Not an acknowledgement from...
I didn't receive any email from the city.
Okay, so I guess maybe I'm back on the naughty list. So, okay. And then my last question is, what date did the city send a letter of request for an audit or an investigation to the Office of State Controller?
I don't believe we sent a letter.
You don't? So you did not request an audit or an investigation on behalf of everybody?
I personally called the New York State Comptroller's office
And
multiple times.
Do you recall who you spoke to? Because there is no record of any city official, be it verbally, email, or a written letter, there's no...
I spoke to the comptroller, Tom DiNapoli, twice. And then I spoke to, I forget the name of the gentleman that's running the...
Ira McCracken?
What was it?
Ira McCracken?
No.
Gabe
Darby? Is that someone?
Gabe?
Senator, do you know? Darby?
Gabe Dale?
Gabe Dale.
Okay, because there is no record, I've not seen any requests to audit or investigate from any city officials. So I think it's on tape somewhere that there was a letter.
I never said I wrote a letter. I never signed a letter. I called. Right away we called.
Right away you called.
Yes.
Do you know what date you called, just so I can go back to him?
I don't.
Could you give me a time frame?
At this point, it's many months ago.
Do you think it was May, April?
I don't know.
You don't know. Do you think if you called from your cell phone, would it be on your call log?
I might have called from work. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember phone calls I made many months ago. I'm sorry.
It's always better to have things in writing, as we all know. And you are a city president, council president. I really think that you should, even now, because it's not too late, to put a request in to audit and an investigate what has been happening.
Well, we already know in writing that it is happening, right?
You can't do the right thing and put it in writing, any of you? No. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to walk away with vegan, but I just wanted to just say that that was a very good question. And it's a very good question because maybe this now makes sense to me, because there's a lot of conflicting information. But I can tell you, as a member of the City Council, I've never received any official communication from the Comptroller's office, and I've also never received any information from the Nassau DA's office.
But did you give them any information? Did you
Right.
say there is a problem here?
No, because we did draft the letter, but then we were told that the investigation was already taking place. But now we're receiving other information based on all the information here and the information that was supplied in Newsday, that this investigation is taking place and that this process is happening.
So you did draft a letter?
Yes.
Okay, so what date was that letter drafted? Then maybe I can go back and see when.
Not as a part of the council did not draft the letter. This letter was only a letter that was written. It was a letter that was written between me and Councilman Vendo. And then here in this room, we were told that the investigation was already taking place. Therefore, we never sent that letter out. However, as a result of all the information that's been forthcoming, we now realize, when I went back to check all my emails, as a city official, I usually receive some kind of official communication from the comptroller's office if something is happening. And or if the DA's office is conducting an investigation, we receive something individually via email. But we've never received anything. I haven't received any communication. Nothing. I've never received a letter. I'm just still hearing different accounts, right? I've received information from Twitter, I've received information from Newsday, I've received information from residents, but I have never received an official communication.
If I could just to buttress that, I did receive an official communication from the comptroller asking me to sign a conflict form. I believe everybody on the council did, because they are doing a review.
Right, but that's mandatory, we do that on an annual basis.
No.
I've received a conflict form myself. Several of us have received that email from the staff, from the state, yes, we have.
The letter from the comptroller stated that they were doing an investigation, if I remember correctly, and asked us to complete a certain form, which we included in
It was from Mr. Ira McCracken. We received, I can only speak for myself, I received an email communication from Mr. Ira McCracken asking me to sign off on a waiver of conflict because they're doing an investigation or some type of review.
Right.
My understanding is, I'm assuming every council member received that, and that's in furtherance of their review. As for the district attorney's office, my understanding is how they conduct their investigations. We're not supposed to know what's happening. We're not supposed to be able to influence that or in any way participate in it unless they reach out to us, and then we would provide whatever's asked of us. I believe our co-council's already done that, and we're just waiting to find out where they stand. I know Mr. Guster had said he's under the belief that the DA is waiting for the completion of the controller's review. I have nothing to base that on. I leave the DA to do the DA's work. I know Mr. Kaminsky has worked with the DA back when he was prosecuting Queens. I'm sure he has the utmost confidence in her abilities. So do I. So we're waiting to find out where they move next.
Okay. And have you responded to Mr. McCarthy?
Immediately.
You did?
I did.
Okay. But you didn't write a letter to the classmate on only when this first shenanigans came up in April?
When he reached out to me, it was that they were conducting the review and the investigation. He reached out asking for a waiver.
So again, I'm disappointed as my representative that you did this, that I have to waste my time calling and Googling Mr. McCracken's phone number and the DA. It's not right.
Ms. Egan, I repeat to you, just because you believe we didn't do what you would want us to do, doesn't mean it's not already being done. They're doing the investigation and the DA is doing theirs.
Yes,
But we can't confirm or deny that they're doing it. We don't have any official communication. How do we know that this is actually happening?
The comptroller's office requested all the documents pertaining to payments and payouts and all these sorts of documents in email, in writing, which every single city council member was CC'd on, and there was, I think, 150 emails, I think, or 120 some odd emails that were all CC'd on with all the information is right there, and the requests from them and us giving the information to the comptroller's office.
Yes, we received whatever, the 120 emails, but that has nothing to do with the actual investigation. It has nothing to do with an internal review that we're asking for. That's separate. It's separate and distinct. That's what the issue is here on the floor.
Yes, but you're not requesting it as my representative. You're back on the mic.
Actually, Ms. Egan, your time is up, and the point is taken. The point is taken.
That's not fair.
The clock stops when a council member speaks.
Okay, but Mr. Lamb,
Hey.
Thank you, Mrs. Egan. Mr. Jim Grosso. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jim Kirkland, Long Beach, New York. Just earlier this evening, I had the pleasure of seeing Senator Kaminsky speaking on Channel 12 about the corruption that needs to be rooted out of the state of New York. And that is part of the problems that we are having here tonight, as well as who's going to be looking into everything that we're looking to have examined, because there's a total lack of confidence in the honesty and the integrity of the people that are going to be called upon to do that. You have Schneiderman, who is the Attorney General, who's under investigation. You have Jack Schneerman, who is the former city manager who's created this mess, who has been endorsed by Tom DiNapoli, who's supposed to be the head of the controller's office, that's going to be looking into all of these financial shenanigans that have been going on. And then you have D.A. Singas, who's relying on the report from Tom DiNapoli as to whether or not she should move forward on anything. So in order for anybody to feel confident that anything this investigation is going to be done honestly and truthfully, pales in comparison to the need to have it taken out of the hands of the state and put into the hands of the federal government, where there's no bias and there's nothing to stand by their findings except the truth. Because we find are totally lacking in this council and in this city, and it isn't just now, it's been going back for the 40 years that I've lived in this city, and it's just a crying shame. At least in the beginning, these were known to be who they are, and they still got things done. Here, we don't seem to be able to do both, and that's a shame because there's a lot more money coming in than there was 40 years ago. Thank you.
Brendan Haley, West End, Long Beach. Going to be changing gears for a second. First, I'd like to talk and congratulate Justin again on his award for Eagle Scout. It's quite an accomplishment. Been involved with it for many years. And it was really a fantastic project he did. It really improved the West End, and we're happy to have him out there. So I'm here to talk about our Committee on Standards and Quality of Life as a part of the West End Neighbors Civic Association. So first and foremost, what we do is our mission of our committee is to represent the local residents by promoting the health, safety, and welfare of our community, but also striking a balance with local economic growth, tourism, and recreation. One of the things that we've instituted, and I know you're all aware, is our community board process we've set up in the West End. That's allowed us to work with many bars, restaurants, and taverns that are opening up or currently existing in the West End. We've gotten a lot of feedback from the residents and the community. One of the things that we've done is we've actually opined and given feedback to the SLA on a few license applications. Baked by the Ocean, which I mentioned, I think, in the last committee meeting, we did submit a letter of support to the SLA. That Baked by the Ocean is open. If you do come to the West End, please definitely visit them. Blacksmith Threads as well. And then Happy's Lounge and Four Choices are the last two that we've been working with. Happy's Lounge, based upon the community feedback and input, we did submit a letter of opposition to the SLA, specifically because it is a new liquor license in a non-existing establishment location. Four Choices, we are in active discussion with them. They have a 500-foot hearing coming up. I believe that is on this Thursday with the SLA. And that is a pre-existing location, formerly Trainers. We received a lot of good input from the community on that as well. But the reason why I mention all this is because it takes a lot of time and effort to do this, as you know. The West End Neighbors, we are a group of volunteers, and obviously volunteers here as well. But we are asking that the City Council reinstitute the Public Safety Commission within the City of Long Beach. I met with Mr. Agostisi last week about this, trying to get a perspective from the city if that could be done. This process needs to be instituted in the city. It's the wrapper that holds everything together when it comes to looking at zoning, looking at license applications, providing consistent feedback. From a business owner's perspective, and I've talked to many attorneys that represent liquor license applicants as well, they would welcome this. They want to know what they're getting into when they come to the city of Long Beach. They much rather know up front versus hearing from a bunch of angry residents or people in support down the line. So I think from a transparency perspective, we should reinstitute the Public Safety Commission. It doesn't need to just focus on liquor licenses, but it can focus on many other activities as well. So with that, thank you for the time and thank you for listening, and I hope we can get that commission reinstituted.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim Mushman.
Kim Mushman, West End, Long Beach. First thing I heard Denise Ford had mentioned the Georgia Park for water, so I thought I'd bring up that there have been a couple of showers at the beach. One, I know New York Avenue in Delaware in the last week that were running and they weren't turning off well, so we just need to kind of be aware of that. And I am a little upset tonight. I wasn't going to speak about this, but I would like to just reiterate that as a voter and a homeowner and someone who struggled to help people recover from Sandy
And I just feel like we've all come together so much in the last 6 years, and I'm going to get a little emotional about this. You know, most of you I know, and we've all been through a lot together, and it just really saddens me that we're not all working together better. I do want transparency. I was a little upset, or I thought it was a little ironic that you told Mr. Kaminsky, Senator Kaminsky, that nobody is above anyone else, but I feel like you keep shutting us out. You know, people keep asking you questions about the city manager position, and Anthony, I'm talking straight to you. I just feel like you keep shutting people out. But there has to be an answer. There's 5 people that we voted in to office. There's 5 of you. And to not have an answer for the public, I've been a union rep a long time too, okay? I would never accept from my boss an answer like you keep giving people, okay? I'm a union person too, okay? I would never accept that from you. If I ask him, are you hiring a new science teacher, and he doesn't have an answer for me in 7 months, were there applications being put in, who was offered the job, whatever, I mean, that just doesn't even make sense. So you can understand my frustration, and I'm talking straight to you and respectfully. It's very frustrating, and I'm asking you guys to please come to the next meeting with information for the public about the application process. Who turned in an application? Why did you turn these people down? Who are the people who you're looking at? Something to give us some faith, restore our faith. We've all been through way too much together. Okay? We've been through way too much. And, you know, Long Beach Rising Group, I founded that group. We have almost 2,000 members, I think, at this point. You know, and everybody's asking questions about their taxes. Why didn't Long Beach, opt in to the Sandy tax relief that was offered? You know, things like that. Now these people are being hit with bills. And for my last point, I hope I don't get cut off, I never get a tax bill because I have a mortgage, but there was a super block tax. And, I just need a history lesson. I'm sure it was voted on in City Council, but can you just give me a history lesson when it was voted on and what that is? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Commissioner. So, in terms of the city manager search, this has been going on for quite a while, and I haven't seen you here in a while, but basically I think we started out with lots of applications, we did a bunch of interviews, we did some interviews by Skype, and then we got into the budget season, and it was all basically put on hold while we got through the budget season, because that's a very time-consuming thing. And then now we're here.
But I remember last meeting, I watched it because I was on vacation, it was right before July 4th, and I could have sworn I heard you tell John, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I said, oh my God, did Anthony just say what he said? You said to him, you already know who my choice is. So I'm just trying to understand, I appreciate that you're answering me, but I just want to understand, what is this process? Why are there 5 people and not everybody's been included, or there are some of the
Everybody's been included in everything.
Okay.
Whether we agree or not, that's for us behind closed doors. But it just takes 3 people to vote someone in, and that hasn't happened, obviously.
But again, closed doors. You told us just before that nobody gets a right to speak longer than anyone else, that public officials are not put on a higher level. But when you say closed door, that tells me something different.
Well, we do the interview process behind closed doors, right? And
I don't think at this point I can't understand any reason why this process should be closed. I cannot understand that.
There's lots of implications why, and we also discussed that as a council. So
we're going to agree to disagree until I die. I will not agree that the city residents do not have a right to know who you're considering and have a say in it. I don't agree with that. I will never agree with that. We're not on another level. We voted you in.
So just on a practical level, some applicants who already have jobs don't want their name out there that they're seeking another job. So that's why we usually can't divulge who we're interviewing. It could harm their current employment.
Okay, you could say person X who has experience doing X, Y, Z, who lives somewhere else, who has 3 kids but is willing to relocate. I mean, you could give us something. Fair enough? Fair enough? In 7 months, I think something would be better than nothing. But the super
There's been no super block tax.
I have a tax bill that says
I'm
super
sorry,
block.
Ms. Washington, your time is up. Yeah.
I'll send those.
There is a super block tax.
Yeah, let me give you just the real 30 seconds. There was a judgment against the city regarding the super block that goes back many, many years. Some owners that had the property taken to eminent domain said that the money they would pay for the property was less than the property was worth. And then there was litigation for many years over that.
Yes, how did you get on my tax bill? That's all I want to know.
So what happened was, when it was finally settled, there was a legal settlement to people that the city had to pay. I believe it was about $19 million, somewhere around there. And what the city decided to do was have a special assessment that I believe is going to last 10 years.
Wow.
That is going to pay that judgment against the city, and once it's paid off, it comes off of people's bills.
Can you just tell me when was that vote for the special assessment?
That was probably a year or two ago, 2 years ago.
That would be about 3 years ago.
So about
I thought you were talking about the current situation with the super block. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Louis Bell. Good evening, name and address for the record.
We do that Long Beach, now to something completely different, boardwalk. As you guys must know, I tried the boardwalk in the morning, and last year, I know there's always a problem with the bike lane and it can't be painted because of e-pay. We've been through that many, many times. Solution was brought up last year where we had the signs. There's no signs this year. I spoke to John Beckno about it. I'm sorry. John Morando about it. Hey, no, I'm sorry, I didn't speak to him. And he said the problem is that at night people are taking the signs and throwing them on the beach and then have to put it back on the boardwalk. I'm on the boardwalk at 6:30 in the morning. Most of the signs are there, maybe 1 or 2 days, there's 1 or 2 signs that are missing. Not to have the signs that we city pay for, not to have them on there, to me is ridiculous. If it takes, the guys on the beach, 1 or 2 times, you 2 guys to carry up the heavy, put them back on the boardwalk. You need those on the boardwalk. You got a lot of people coming from out of town all the time. They have to be back on the boardwalk. You pay for the signs, use the signs. It may not be the most efficient thing, but it is something. That's what I gotta say.
Thank you.
And as soon as it's done, it was the 3rd weekend of July already, they should be on at least by the weekend. There's really something has to be done about that. Thank you.
Allison Blanchett. Name and address for the record.
Allison Blanchett. I just want to follow up on what you were saying as far as the signs on the boardwalk. They are needed, but those ones that we had last year were really terrible. They got in the way of people who were biking. I actually sliced my arm on the edge of one because they are kind of sharp. I was picking one up that fell over and then couldn't straddle my bike and do it, slipped, and I sliced my arm. Those were not really the best things to do. Obviously, we're not going to be doing painting. I have found you can't have someone out there chalking all the time. At the times that I mentioned this before, I've been chalking bike lane signs. And people see that, and I stand back and I listen, and they respond well to it. Do you want that back? Okay. So there were some Girl Scouts who gave a presentation here about, you remember that? Yeah. They had a whole list of things, suggestions, and they had some suggestions for the signs as well. So maybe bringing them back in and asking them what they would do instead of those signs that people are throwing off. I have emailed all of you, and I guess I'm not on the naughty list with Nora because I did get responses from everyone. The summer beach trolley that has been advertised, usually it's the open air one, and it has its own route that runs seasonally, goes from the station down east loops down around Broadway to the west end and back. It's been a running joke online from Project One to see by the city. Where's the trolley? Who's seen it? Who's seen it? People take pictures of it. Well, I saw it, and I was so excited that I left my bike behind, believe it or not, and jumped on it, and was very confused because it went just to the west end and back. And so I talked to a few people in the transportation department, and apparently this bus that route has not been running this summer. We've been advertising it, and it hasn't been running. I stood up here a couple months ago saying we should have trolley signs, because we've never, since we've had that route, we have never had one sign. Oh no, there might have been one sign. One. That was duct taped up. I might have done it. So, and I actually, truth be told, I was at the station and I discovered the bus there because I was duct taping up a poster sign that said trolley here that I made, because apparently I have no life. So, this route was cut, and I emailed you, and then Monday morning, the bus map was altered online, and it only showed 2 loops. The shopper special wasn't even on the map anymore, and apparently the bus is free now on weekends if you have a beach pass for everyone. And did you guys know this?
15 seconds.
Did you guys know that the bus service was cut? Why was it cut? Can Michael Robinson, the deputy city manager, come up and answer the questions? And on that, why was this decision made? Why weren't you told? Why weren't we notified? Because Todd Kaminsky's office called and got some answers, and one of the answers directly from Michael Robinson is that the city doesn't have any money to put the notifications out.
So your time is up, and we do have Brendan here to talk about the changes that were made. I believe now they're just, instead of overlapping each other, it's just basically the trolley runs on weekends. He'll explain it better.
No, he explained it to me on the phone. And
okay, so let him explain it to the audience, what changes made. And why.
Okay, well, we didn't advertise it this year at all. We put out a summer.
It's on the website. It's on the website. It's like
Website changed.
it's like everywhere.
We haven't run it out since September. Basically, in the summer book, we changed the map to show a more simpler form of the what's then, these then. Basically, the ridership wasn't there. We had maybe 10 people a day, and the cost is still high to run special trolley routes. So the main majority of it, the reason for the trolleys was for the getaway back to the railroad. That's the original reason why we built the trolleys out there. But it's basically the same route as the east and west, and we have the same buses that have the same coverage.
Good, I'm sorry, can you just introduce who you are and your title?
Brendan Costello, Director of Transportation. Brendan Costello, Director of Transportation.
Okay, so, thank you, Brendan. All right, so in other words, the open air trolley is only being used in the west end?
Majority of the time. It's sometimes we can use in the west end. If it's extremely hot, like it was 2 weeks ago, we took it off there to use the rental trolley. If it's raining, we can't use it either. Late night, we pull it once it gets dark.
How many closed trolleys do we have?
We have 1 open trolley. We have 2 enclosed trolleys.
2 enclosed. So on the weekends you use?
We use all 3.
All 3. And it's free going east, going west with a beach pass, whether you're a resident or non-resident.
Correct. That's going to be the same.
There's been no notification that should cut this service. It's the map that
It's in the
shows
summer
this
book,
route.
and the ambassadors handed out the summer book, and that was the main reason for the trolleys.
What summer book? Oh my God, it's still up on the website. You're still advertising this.
It's not, the website was changed the other day.
Do you want me to show you that?
I've seen the website. I know what the map is.
So it's still free, right? It's still free. It's not the point. It's a free shuttle.
That's not the point. The point is you're not communicating with residents.
I think maybe the best thing to do, I'm just going to ask that you just review it again, just to ensure that what's on all of the websites and what's being communicated to the public is exactly what is happening. And then we can put out some kind of notification either on Facebook or through all sorts of methods, exactly what's going on. Whether people should refer to the summer book, which is very nice and has a great map in it, or we can put it on the website. Whatever we should do an analysis to ensure that whatever information is being put out there is the accurate information. So to the extent that it isn't, or I know there were some changes that were made yesterday, or even as early as this morning, if I remember correctly, and I want to thank you. I think that let's just make sure, whatever it is, that the information that's being provided is the proper information, that is consistent in all the methods that we do. If there is an inconsistency, we should just point it out and correct it. But thank you for addressing the other issue as quickly as you did. I appreciate it.
Just a quick question. So you said it was canceled because there was lack of riders.
Well, it is inconvenient this year, right? And the routes overlapped and just overkill.
Okay. Just what was done, like for example, people getting off the train and things like that. What was done so they would be aware of the existence, and if they went down to the beach or wherever, how would they know where to pick it up?
We have ambassadors at the train station that hand out pamphlets and trying to explain the sources to get around the ground.
No, I understand, but the maps didn't have the stops on them. So how would somebody, and it's still the case, you know, that the maps don't have the actual stops on them. So how will people know that do want to utilize the bus, where they can get the bus?
Just the develop coordination, right? But I understand what you're saying.
Right. The route will show you where the bus goes, what streets. But how would somebody know it stops at Nevada, it stops at Maryland, it stops at, you know.
Basically, the public coordination of each route and
No, that shows where the bus goes.
Right.
But it doesn't show where the bus stops, and there's no bus stop signs in the city that I'm aware of. Well, there may be in some places that I'm not aware of. So again, if we're trying to increase ridership, utilization of the bus, people need to know where they can get it, when it runs, and...
Well, we have the signs out there, but I understand what you're saying. The schedule does need to be updated, and we are in the process of changing, making more clear.
Is there any plan in place to mark bus stops around the city so people know?
There's bus stop signs all over the city. The white signs with red lettering, but
Are we getting the grants?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, one of the grants projects I'm getting is solar lighting, actually, that's going to go on top of the bus stop, so you can identify them.
Okay, so we're going to hopefully identify the stops so people know where they are.
And the grant also has a couple more shelters, if I remember.
Right, we're going to redo the bus shelters and how that I'm doing something like that.
This is the website right now. This is showing the beach one that goes down and the shopper special. This is what people are seeing, and this is why someone like Anthony Belcher from See by the City waited 40 minutes with his children for something that didn't exist. And like what Bendo said, you can't expect people to take a service if they don't know
And
about
soon as it was brought to our attention that the wrong map was posted, it was updated within hours. Maybe refresh because it's up, the new map is updated.
No, this is still there. There are two maps up. There's two.
Okay. I mean, I know
I
map from
need you to take
2015
this a
too.
little more seriously. It seems like, thing.
Thank you, Ms. Blanchett. Tom Cookhouse. Tom?
Fitzpatrick.
Oh.
Right here.
Name and address for the record, sir.
Thomas Fitzpatrick, Laurelton Boulevard, Long Beach, New York. I would like to thank Senator Kaminsky and Legislator Ford for coming up here and speaking on behalf of residents, as well as the other people who forcefully spoke on behalf of, I think, the main issue that we're all concerned with is the lack of a city manager for the last 7.5 months. I think it would be imprudent of myself and a waste of everyone's time if I would repeat all of the well thought out and well presented points by all the previous speakers regarding that subject. I think it's a complete disgrace, and I cannot fathom any concrete or common sense based reason why this this city council has not appointed an independent city manager to run this town in this severe crisis that we are presently in. That's all I have to say. I don't want to be redundant. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Sam Pinto, Long Beach, speaking on behalf of Local 287. A few questions real quick, good evening. Have there been any personnel changes since the last regular council meeting? Any changes to personnel in any way? I know alternates were posted. Only the first meeting of the month. Thank you. Okay, so after that, a few things that came up tonight I wanted maybe a little clarification is, what's the status if the city's doing an internal review, not specifically for the retirements, but for the separation payments of the exempt employees that never actually separated?
That's part of the same review.
All parts, the city hasn't done their own diligence to find out, have these people actually separated, or were they getting a different form of payment?
I'm sorry?
Were they getting separation payments based off leaving, or were they
Those are
getting
not separation payments,
or were
they're
they
drawing down their time.
They're now being called drawing down of time for
No,
people.
I mean, that's what it is. They've accrued time, and there's been a practice that folks are able to draw down time based on need. That practice has since stopped while we wait for this review to occur.
Okay, so just for clarification, the people who we were told separated, the exempts that we were told separated, and were given the incentives that others were given upon leaving, who actually did not leave, were not getting separation payments. Most of them, but some got significant payments that were greater than normal, cash or time of need payouts. I'm just asking to see, we've done our internal review seeing if it's been for separation or if they've been all payouts to the people who haven't left. Because I've heard in the past, some people who haven't left received separation payments.
One person was leaving, yes, and received his payout of all his time, and then decided not to leave. That's correct. That's been public record for a while.
I mean, all the others who did not leave weren't getting separation payments, they were getting paid out, as you said.
But it's the same money, right? Like, either you're getting everything that's due to you, or you're just getting a few of the hours that are due to you, right?
No. One is that you're getting based off leaving, one of them getting based not.
But it's still the time that you've earned as an employee of the city, correct?
No, not at all.
It is.
I don't believe so.
That's my understanding.
Okay, I mean, I would love to buy my sick time.
It's part of the CSA contract that they're able to do that.
Okay, so if they weren't getting separation payouts is the answer, which is fine. I was told otherwise.
I mean, it's just a nuance of what you're calling it. It's the same pool of money, whether they're cashing in all their vacation time that they've earned, or they're selling back 40 hours of it.
I think that just for clarification purposes, there were individuals, as we've discussed at length at all of these meetings, who accepted an incentive. When we voted on the bond last meeting, we all received, every one of us received, those individuals had signed off, there was the calculation, there were members of the police department, the fire department, CSEA members who had received that information, that money, the calculations were there, and how they were calculated was there for us. There were individuals who received drawdown, separation pay, whatever you want to call it, who did not separate. I think we've made that abundantly clear. We've all asked, although some members of the council are not, didn't, I don't understand that, but a number of us were reached out to the state comptroller's office, we've asked them to conduct an investigation and an audit, and we're waiting for that to be completed. It includes the separation pay, is my understanding.
Okay, so people who weren't eligible for actual retirement were still offered separation payments with entire retirement incentives. Let's say a person in 5 years.
I don't know the answer to that question. I think it's best if we not discuss hypotheticals.
No, it's not hypothetical.
Wait, let me just finish. If you have a specific issue, I'm sure we can talk offline and we need to embarrass the individual.
Okay, sounds good. A few more questions based off of that. I was looking on the civil service meeting notices on the website, and it's a blank page. Are the civil service meetings minutes public? Can they be made public, similar to the zoning board and council meetings? Because it has to, I mean, just going to the website, looking to see if there's been any personnel changes, would be nice.
If it's public information, there's no reason why it should be posted.
But if you can, okay, so I'm asking if it can be posted on the city's website, similar to the other minutes that are posted.
I'll look into it, if it can be, if there's any legal obligation not to.
Okay, appreciate that. And last thing, while the city is planning on maintaining and holding on to the comptroller's review and the audit or investigation, whatever it's being called, has our local ethics committee looked into it at all?
No, we went with this last week. The ethics committee's, their purview is very narrow.
Sure.
And it's if someone has a financial conflict of interest.
Like a payout for.
And it's,
We can advise that that's not.
no, like as if you own a business in town or something to that effect, that has a contract with the city.
That's
But as Corporation Counsel, I guess PC explained last week, or 2 weeks ago now, it's complaint driven. So an email is sent to his office and then it's complaint driven.
Okay, so it's not for things like this then?
No.
Okay.
That's what we've been advised.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Everyone please be home safe.